So I got my PR and I did a soft landing in 2016.
Mhm.
And when I went to Canada, honestly, when I came back, people were asking me, how's Canada? I just said one word to them, downgrade. In the early days, I had no job in Canada.
Hmm.
In 2018, I moved to Canada.
So how long were you there without the job?
Yeah, I was there
After landing?
around 9 months.
Around 9 months.
Yes.
Ah, I didn't know that.
And those, anyways, I've left my old job. I need a new job.
Mhm.
Why not transition now?
Mhm.
And I still remember that lady. She was a very nice lady, and she said, "You'd be lucky if you get your own telecom
Hey,
job."
this is what I was saying.
The firing process was extremely harsh.
Really?
Extremely
Even in
harsh.
Canada?
Even in Canada.
Ah.
I had a breakfast with a friend. At noontime, his desk was empty. When you work in contract, it's one all-inclusive rate that you get, right? There's no insurance. There's no benefits. If you are sick, you don't get paid. If you work less hours, you don't get paid. Hourly rate should compensate for everything and beyond. So you should also put in a factor that, you know what, if I had to sit 6 months searching for the next contract, then my last income was good enough to last me for 6 months, right? If God forbid that person loses the job, even getting back 120,000 salary is hard.
Really?
Yes, I know people right now, they're struggling to get back to the same level. So when I opened the app, the first few keywords, or let's say the most searched keywords, were actually milk and bread and eggs.
And that is an app used for finding deals.
For finding deals. I was thinking people would be searching for LCDs,
Yeah,
iPhone 14s,
yeah.
you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was shocked. People were searching for basic necessities. And he opened up a diary and he said, okay, I know that there are 300 people who have not been promoted for 10 years, 500 people not promoted for 12 years, 600 people not promoted for 13 years. And then he said, my question is that if you've not been promoted for so long and you're still here, then this means that nobody values the outside and I'm stuck with the garbage of this country. Oh my God.
So, I mean,
that
people
was
would be
a
thinking,
slap.
people would be thinking, okay, now we are getting promotion. Probably.
Exactly.
So, Mr. Adnan, I was looking at your LinkedIn profile and I was surprised. What is this AI practitioner? Because somebody was asking in my one of my old colleague, and you know him as well. He was saying, has he become a medical doctor?
Medical practitioner.
So, what is going on with? I was looking at your profile, and we were in a big telecom company here in
Yes.
here in the UAE, and I'm still there. And you have moved on, and I saw your last job was in Honda, Canada,
That's right.
and moved to in AI space. So what's going on?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on this podcast. And so last we met, we were in the same company. And honestly, I was always trying to move from a telecom background into something that was more towards coding, right? I think I'm always a coder from heart.
Right.
Even when I was there in the telecom company, you might remember that I had automated a lot of stuff. And I was speaking to one colleague, and they said that they are still using those automated
Yeah,
files.
I know that.
Yeah. So that's why I always wanted to transition, and maybe I'll have to go a little back in time just to tell you why AI, right? So when I so my background, I was born here in Dubai, and maybe you even don't know that I was born on National Day on 2nd December.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've lived my whole life here. As have my brothers, they're all born here. And we did our schooling here. I did graduation from AUS, American Institute of Sharjah. I graduated, like every Pakistani parents' dream. They wanted their kids to be an engineer, so I did electrical engineering. Then we moved into Etisalat, and I always wanted to automate and do coding, right? And I at that time AI was not even a thing, nor was data science or machine learning. Maybe in some pockets in US, but not here in the Middle East. So the closest thing to automation and coding was mechatronics engineering. This was a program offered as a master's program in AUS, and that's what I did in 2015. I did mechatronics engineering, but unfortunately, I couldn't transition. And one of the I would say, I'm not. It's not a problem, but it is an issue here that you get too comfortable in your comfort zone, right? You're very happy with your day job. You come home, spend time with your family, and then you stop worrying about your career and you stop building yourself up. So I became too comfortable there, and then when I went to Canada, I found this opportunity, and I had made up my mind that when I go to Canada, I'm going to transition. And this transition is another story. But alhamdulillah, I transitioned from a telecom engineer into an AI one, and this was I think the best decision I had done when I moved to Canada, because when I went into AI, I absolutely loved my work. In fact, I love it so much that I do teach it as a part-time thing in weekends.
Right.
Yeah, so this was basically, I think it was always inside me. I mean, this was a long story, but the short answer is I was always a coder, I was an automator in heart. And I found my peace, I found my calling in AI, and that's why I moved into AI.
Right.
Yeah.
So interesting thing is that people move from UAE to Canada, and seldom they come back. Although they like to come back, but it's not always that they are able to come back. But in your case, you have expanded to the UAE.
That's right.
So what is that story about? First, let me ask you, what was the process like while you're going to Canada? So was it like daunting, because some people don't like they don't find Canada
Yes.
as welcoming in terms of job perspective
Yes.
as normally people would expect.
Absolutely.
But what was your case? Was it very
So my
easy?
case was, I think, pretty much like you're explaining it, right? So I got my PR and I did a soft landing in 2016. And when I went to Canada, honestly, when I came back, people were asking me, how's Canada? And I just said one word to them: downgrade. Honestly speaking, like having lived in Dubai, this is the most luxurious place you could be. And I've traveled to several countries in the world, US, Italy, Paris, Switzerland. Well, Switzerland is a very good place as well, but Dubai is the best place you can be. And when I went to Canada, the malls were shutting down at 6 o'clock. Everything was, and I think it was winter time. It's so pretty dull and gloomy. The cars, were not as flashy as here. People were not as flashy as here. So everything seemed like a downgrade to me. And even job perspective wise, like you said. So even though I said I transitioned into AI, that journey was quite difficult. In the early days, I had no job in Canada. In 2018, I moved to Canada.
So how long did you were you there without the job?
Yeah, I was there
after landing?
around 9 months.
Around 9 months.
Yes.
Ah, I didn't know that.
And those were the hardest 9 months of my life.
My God.
Yes. Luckily, I had a family support system, so I wasn't, paying everything from my own pockets, and I wasn't living in the basement like most people do. Some people have a very, very hard time there. I see Canada as a grinding machine. You have to go through the grind no matter what. And if you don't go through if you don't go through the grind initially, sometime later you will. Right.
Yeah. This is what I was about to say.
Yes, your
Yes,
turn will
yes,
come.
yes.
I know people who landed in Canada on jobs and very good jobs. Now they lost their jobs, and they are going
And then
through the
after that,
grind.
it's not easy, because
Exactly.
you were lucky to get the first job,
Yes.
but it's not the second time.
Exactly.
It's going to
And
be
and they have support systems. I wouldn't say they just leave you out in the streets. So they have these employment centers, and I went to several of them, and I told them I want to transition from my telecom field into a more coding related field.
before even getting the first telecom job.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
Because I thought that, you know what, this is the opportunity. I couldn't do that in Dubai. I must do it now, right? Anyways, I've left my old job. I need a new job. Why not transition now? And I still remember that lady. She was a very nice lady, and she said, "You'll be lucky if you get your own telecom
Hey,
job."
this is what I was saying.
Forget about transitioning. You'd be lucky if you get your own telecom job. So I, scrapped that idea of transitioning, and my first job was again a telecom job. I was working at Rogers, one of the biggest telecom operators there in Canada. But I always had that urge in me that no, I need to move out. I need to move out. I need to go into coding, automation. And then, alhamdulillah, I was introduced to a program where they were talking about data science, AI, machine learning. And then I made up my mind that no matter what, I need to move into that field.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So once you I was looking at your profile. So you worked in Rogers. You worked
Yes.
in what is that, CSA Group?
CSA is a very big Canadian. It's like an standardization organization, like ISO. So it is Canadian based, but it's international.
Okay.
You will see a lot of products with CSA certifications.
Right.
Yeah.
Similar to ISO.
Exactly similar to ISO.
Okay.
You might even see like iPhone. You will see it's tested and approved by CSA.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And they have two wings. Sorry to cut you. They have two wings. One is a non-profit testing organization. Sorry, non-profit standardization organization. They just get all the industry leaders and make standards. A new product is out. What should be the standard? What should be the strength? What should be the temperature? That is non-profit. Then they have a testing wing, which is profitable. That's where I was.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but within Rogers, you started move, because I talked to you, and it was very interesting that you told me that telecom is same everywhere.
Yes.
And I was surprised to
I
listen
was
to
very
you.
I was very surprised. I thought that in Canada, in North America, I would be treated like kings. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
In fact, they were so short on funds especially for the engineering unit. By the way, I had friends in IT and other departments.
It's
They
the
were
story
kings.
everywhere, I guess.
Yes.
Mm.
In engineering, our funds were so short
Mm.
that we had to do everything, and we wouldn't pay the vendor anything.
Mm.
They'd be like, "No, the vendor's charging too much. You have to do it on your own."
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
and then what was the most depressing part was that the firing process was extremely harsh.
Really?
Extremely
Even in
harsh,
Canada?
even in Canada.
Ah.
I had a breakfast with a friend. At noontime, his desk was empty.
Oh.
That was the way.
Ah.
And then, I was really
That's a
offended.
US way of doing things.
Exactly. I was really offended because the guy was not allowed to come back to his desk.
Hmm.
We used to have lockers. We used to keep our stuff. He
Hmm.
wasn't allowed to come back to his locker.
Hmm.
A security guard came and got his stuff, and I felt like that was,
Too much.
too much. Yes.
Yeah, it was not expected, especially if you're in Canada.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen cases like this in Dubai, but that is like if you have done some kind of fraud or something, you need disciplinary action.
Hmm.
But this was just
This is just a normal
a
layoff,
normal layoff.
and
A normal layoff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not. It shouldn't be like this.
Yeah.
But you were transitioning within Rogers,
Yes.
because I know from your work, the way that you work, I know that you love coding and you love to
Yes.
automate things. So
Exactly.
probably you would be doing there the
Yes.
same way.
Absolutely.
You would be lazy and
You would
you
be
want to do.
surprised the things I've automated.
Hmm.
Once I started learning Python coding, and I had done coding in mechatronics and stuff like that, but
Hmm.
Python was new for me.
Hmm.
And Python is the reason Python is the number one programming language right now because it is so rich. It has so many libraries.
Hmm.
It can do so many things. We used to fill. I hope my employees are not listening.
But they're X now.
Yeah, they're ex-employers. We used to fill a time code every week,
Uh-huh.
and it needed a lot of actions. The mouse needs to go here, click that, and then a keyboard needs to type that. I had automated the
That's a
whole thing.
timesheet.
A timesheet.
Really?
I had automated the whole thing.
For
Every
yourself
Thursday,
only, or you?
only for myself, of course.
Okay.
I don't want to get fired. Yeah, at lunchtime I'd be gone.
Okay.
So yeah. So basically, what I did was after that, the data science cohort,
Uh-huh.
I started learning on myself. And this is, I have a list of superpowers
Uh-huh.
that Allah has given me, and one of them is self-learning.
Mm.
I'm very good at self-learning.
Mhm.
So what I did was I spent 2 years of my own time just to self-learn AI.
Mhm.
Right? I had already done math and statistics in university. I just needed to pick up on coding and other software engineering skills,
Mm.
and I did that all by myself. And I started applying that in my day job.
Mhm.
So, for instance, we were monitoring traffic and we were monitoring different cell sites, how many users are there, how much traffic, how much data.
Mm.
I had made models for anomaly detection,
Mm.
and I had made models for predictions and we were always working as a reactive. You must know that, right? Engineering is a bit of a reactive situation where
Mm.
that, okay, the cell tower has now gone into congestion. What should we do now?
Mm.
With my models, I was predicting that ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah, and these were great. I got recognition. I had even presented to the VP level.
Okay.
But unfortunately, like I said, funds for engineering were so limited.
Mm.
I saw that I've hit a
The
brick
ceiling.
wall. Yeah,
Mm.
I
Mm.
couldn't move further from that.
Right. So, but fortunately for you, you were in Canada and you can easily move around.
Yes.
I mean, even in Dubai, you can move around, but again, here it's a bit of a comfort zone once
Yes.
you go into one particular job, and you don't want to start afresh.
Yes.
So, and I've seen people having different kind of skill sets, but still they want to carry on with the same job and keep on applying those skills.
I have an interesting story for that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So once, in 2 years, I was doing this, applying stuff on my own on the day job.
Hmm.
I once made a tool that was, key performance indicators for cell towers. It was gathering these key performance indicators and statistics from all around,
Mhm.
from different Ericsson, Huawei, and other vendors,
Mhm.
compiling them, aggregating them, and then putting it on a dashboard. And it was refreshing every minute.
Right,
So it was like a live dashboard for all your KPIs.
right.
And I did this in Python programming, the entire thing.
Mhm.
And I had a friend, his name was Gaurav, and I
Mhm.
would, I'd say the other superpower that God has given me is He has given me great people around me.
Hmm.
So he was one of the great people around me, and he said, Adnan, if I had the skill set that you have, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, you have a point, and I do want to transition into AI,
Right.
but the jobs I look at, they are requiring these 10 things, and I'm maybe at 7 or 8, maybe, right? I'm
Right.
still missing out 2 or 3 things.
Hmm.
And he was like, no, that should not stop you from applying. You should apply for a job. And if they're calling you for an interview, that means that they're fine with your 7 out of 10 things.
Right.
And that clicked at me. And then I saw like, that makes sense. I'm not misrepresenting myself. I'm
Mm.
telling them I'm not getting those 2 things
Mhm.
because I didn't have access to those 2 things.
Right.
For instance, a lot of databases use SQL programming. Rogers was not doing that in my team,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't have proficiency in it. I knew about it, but I hadn't worked on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I started applying for jobs. I got one interview, two interview, three interviews. Everybody's complimented me on one thing, is that you show great energy, you show great passion at your work. We can see that you love doing AI and data science.
Mm-hmm.
And that kept me going. And interview number three, I nailed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so only two attempts were
Two
there.
attempts, yeah, two interviews. And then the third one, I nailed it.
Okay.
And then I moved full scale into AI.
Right. So once you went into AI, like what then the good thing about any other domain apart from, let's say, your core skill. Let's say if I'm in telecom and I'm an engineer there,
Yes.
if I don't think out of the box, I would probably be stuck in the same
Yes.
domain. Similarly for other domains as well.
Yes.
But let's say for a software engineer, for AI, let's say a professional, he can go into let's say Procter and Gamble. He can go into,
Yes.
let's say, as I can see, Honda as well.
Yes.
You can go anywhere,
Anywhere.
any company you like.
That is something I think it's unique about AI,
Mm-hmm.
because what I call it is cross functional and cross industries.
Mm-hmm.
Within the same Rogers, you could have an AI use case for engineering, an AI
Mm-hmm.
use case for IT, an AI use case for business, for marketing, for sales, and then you can also go across different verticals.
Mm-hmm.
You can, and that's what I did. I moved from a telecom company to a standardization company to an automotives company, and I was even working with charity organizations
Right.
with their data. So
Okay.
AI basically works on data, and data is prevalent everywhere.
Hmm.
So that's why we can use AI for almost every industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what were you doing in, by the way, Honda Canada? Did you get any good cars or
So basically, I wish.
sales contract? So
Yeah.
and this I want to check talk to you about permanent jobs versus
Yes.
contract jobs in Canada as well.
So my first job that I spoke about in Rogers was a permanent one. I was a full-time employee,
Okay.
and then when I got my second job, which was an actual AI job at CSA, I founded my own company,
Mhm.
which is called Gain AI. Right,
Okay.
I founded my own company, and I worked
So
as
while
a
you were in Honda, you founded this company.
yeah. So in Honda, in CSA, this company already existed, right?
Okay.
And these guys were my clients.
Right.
So I was working as a consultant. So basically, the way it works is you create a corporation in
Mm-hmm.
Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and you are.
I heard it's very easy
It's
to
very
form.
easy.
Yeah.
It's extremely easy. I think it's a 5-minute job.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it online.
Mm.
You get a corporation name and number, and then you are the owner of the corporation, and also you are the employee.
Okay.
So what I was doing is I was selling my services as an employee to CSA and Honda.
Honda.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first started working at CSA. I worked there for 2 years, and they had a data science team. We were working on AI projects there, and then I wanted to grow out and go into bigger projects.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that Honda was a better opportunity. I moved into Honda. And again, like I said, AI works on data.
Mm-hmm.
Honda had a lot of data.
Mm.
We had completely different use cases, but it was all using the same fundamental of AI that I had learned, in my self-study.
Mm-hmm.
So Honda had amazing projects. I was leading their AI team in Canada.
Okay.
And then this generative AI boom came, Chat GPT boom, right?
Mm.
And then before that, North America had no Honda team. And after Chat GPT, overnight they had a full-blown AI
AI team.
team.
Okay.
They had 3 massive use cases for AI. They involved all the large vendors, Microsoft, Azure, AWS, GCP, and we were working very closely with them on all AI projects.
Hmm. So one thing I don't understand about AI is how come things open, because I'm an outsider, but right after ChatGPT I have started using AI
Yes,
in everything that I'm doing.
yes,
But why was it not like used by mainstream people, let's say,
yes,
who know about AI,
yes,
and they don't talk about that at that time? Why only after ChatGPT
yes.
things got blown away?
So, if I talk about AI, right, it has gone through a revolutionary phase, right? It started off with, we call it rule-based programming, where you just make like if-else statements, very
Mm-hmm.
simple programming.
Mm-hmm.
Then it went into machine learning, that's model-based programming. Then it went into deep learning. And then when we were working in AI, we were in the deep learning phase.
Mm-hmm.
Then came another boom of generative AI,
Which
generative,
is ChatGPT,
which is ChatGPT,
right?
right? Generative AI was only with a very selective group,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even I think the big tech companies like Facebook and Amazon were not using it.
Mm-hmm.
It was purely, let's say, for research purposes.
Mm-hmm.
When OpenAI launched ChatGPT, and it's not like they didn't exist. Even when I was in CSA, we had a similar project where we had a lot of documents, and we wanted to create a chatbot that we could ask a document. For example, in iPhone, what is the standard for temperature testing?
Right.
And it would search through all those documents and get you exactly, and it would answer you like ChatGPT. So that was generative AI as well. So it was being used, but it was not open for all, and it was quite hard to use it.
Okay.
Because the brilliance of ChatGPT is it has a massive training data. It is trained over the entire internet, all Shakespeare plays, this and that, and that's why it's able to answer you with such precision and accuracy.
Right. So, like I can go on with you for AI because it's completely a
Exactly,
new
that's my
space for
field.
me as well, and then you also love that space.
Yes.
I want to touch again about on a topic about Canada, that
Yes.
how come some I know people who get employed through contracts.
Yes.
Okay, and then there are people who are employed through as
Full-time roles.
full-time
Yes.
employees as well. So of course there are difference between them, and there are pros and cons. So
Yes.
first thing first, I need to know what are the pros and cons between those kind of
Yeah.
people, and then also why like people don't know about this hack of getting employed through a contracting company or their own contracting company. I think they don't know much about this, or they do they?
I think they do, but it's like you said, there's pros and cons on both sides,
Okay.
right? So, for example, a full-time role gives you, I mean, they feel that you have that safety, that you're not going to lose your job. You have dental and you have medical insurance, even though you are paying a portion of it. Dental and medical insurance was not free, but you were paying a portion of it. And then also you get, some companies also give you shareholding.
Right.
So you feel that, okay, I have a stake in this company. I'm working for it. It's working for me. It's a very good place to work.
Paid holidays as well.
Paid holidays as well, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's that sense of safety that they get from full-time roles. When you work in contract, it's one all-inclusive rate that you get, right? There's no insurance, there's no benefits. If you are sick, you don't get paid. If you work less hours, you don't get paid. But the what you should do is that the hourly rate should compensate for everything and beyond. So you should also put in a factor that, you know what, if I had to sit 6 months searching for the next contract, then my last income was good enough to last me for 6 months, right?
Right.
So if you do that maths, a lot of people do work at contracts, but like that safety bit comes. Even in Rogers, when I was there, I initially started off as a contract roller because they don't hire full timers right away. So the contractors, when there's an opening, they are the first ones who are contacted and said, okay, there's an opening. Do you want to become full timer? And I knew even in CSA, my colleague, she was starting her career, and it always baffled me that if I'm starting a career and I don't have a family, I will never work as a full timer. Contractor on my own terms, on my own rates. I don't. And the biggest difference between the way I see it, full timer and contractor. In full timer, you get your pay post tax. Every month, the tax get deducted, and you get a very small portion back, right?
Right.
And the contractor, you get the full pay, and you pay taxes at the end of the year,
Right.
and minus the expenses and everything, right? So that's a big, even mentally, it's just a big issue. So you're killing yourself, and you're really tight with your budget in the full-time role, whereas in the contract, you can show your expenses. And when you're a contractor, the car that you're using is your expense. If you're taking care of yourself, you're going to the gym, you're doing these things, this is an expense. These are kind of expenses that you cannot claim when you're a full-timer.
Right.
Right. So there's a lot of like you said, you can think of it as a hack or a loophole.
Yeah.
But it's all official, and people,
everybody knows about it.
Everybody knows about it.
And there are pros and cons of both.
Exactly.
I just want to, because I have another channel, Urdu channel, and then there was a podcast I was doing with one of my friend's wife actually, and they were talking about Canada because they moved to the US, and they told me a good thing about Canada, that if let's say some women get pregnant,
Yes.
and they get maternity leave, and that was lasting for let's say 1 year and then 18 months as well, depending on the situation. So if somebody is a contractor,
Yes.
because this is a government
Yes.
initiative, right?
Yes.
So do they get also this 1 year leave
So
as a contractor?
they don't get a leave. I mean, so I'm not an expert on the financials of this, but there is every month you have to pay like an employment insurance
Okay.
to Canadian
That
government.
should cover.
Yeah, that should cover it.
That should
That
cover.
that's basically what. If you lose your job, your maternity leave, something happens to you,
So
that
you're
employment
basically
insurance
covered
comes in.
in terms of the bigger umbrella. You are
Yes.
covered in any case. So better to go for. I mean, I'm not
Exactly.
saying that from.
In Canada,
Huh.
you will, most probably, but you will not be out of education,
Mm-hmm.
and you will not be out of healthcare.
Hmm.
These two things are completely free.
Right.
In
Right.
fact, they also give you subsidies for every kid you have.
Hmm.
So you can spend a little extra.
Hmm.
And then time and time again, depending on the government,
Hmm.
they give you incentives. For
Hmm.
example, when COVID hit, they gave you some remote study incentives. Go buy some devices for doing remote study
Hmm.
and stuff like that.
And increase inflation.
And increase inflation, and just for the vote bank, and when election goes, everything
Yeah.
goes back.
Yeah. So I want to discuss with you about this whole situation where everybody is coming back from Canada. I have seen people coming back to Dubai, or trying to get back to Dubai, or let's say going to US,
Yes.
because life in Canada, I know personally someone who is making a good amount of money. It's not bad. I mean, 120,000 per year is a fairly good amount
Yes, it is.
of salary. That guy is, because he has some extra expenses that he has to support his family back home in Pakistan,
Mm,
so he has to send some money back home, and it is a substantial amount. He cannot, as a single income, he cannot
sustain.
sustain. Yeah.
Yes.
So he was doing Uber as well
Oh my God.
during the weekends.
Yeah.
So I was surprised at that. By doing white collar job and
Yes.
doing a good paid job as well, you have to go through that. So how is, by
Yes.
the way, inflation situation in Canada right now?
Yeah. Before I answer that,
Hmm.
one good quality about Canada is, I mean, I don't want to just keep saying bad things about Canada. There's a lot of good in Canada,
Hmm.
and that is that everybody is treated equally.
Hmm.
Nobody's judged upon the car they drive, the phone
Right.
they carry,
Right.
like the Uber they drive and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
And in fact, the environment is so nice, and then Canada is praised for its work-life
Hmm.
balance as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
The environment is so nice that I was sitting with my CEO in Rogers just next to each other. This was something unimaginable in my old company in Dubai,
Hmm.
right? There was a lot of bureaucracies and levels and stuff like that in
Hmm.
Dubai.
Hmm.
But in Canada, that's the norm. Everybody, and in fact, it's so friendly that the last day of the week, it always goes with chit chat on what are you going to do in weekend, what are your weekend plans, what's this, how's your health and stuff like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's a big advantage of Canada. The work-life balance and the people are amazing.
Hmm.
Now coming back to that inflation point,
Hmm.
I do agree. Canada has become over the past, I think, 2-3 years, it has become extremely expensive to live in.
Hmm.
Sometimes we used to think these salaries are amazing, but now they're not.
Hmm.
And in fact, if God forbid that person loses the job, even getting back 120,000 salary is hard.
Really?
Yes, I know
Oh.
people right now, they're struggling to get back to the same level.
Okay.
Yeah, they've lost their jobs, and then they are not getting those same salaries back.
Hmm.
And then one very interesting thing I want to tell you is that in Canada we have an app that, that you can search all the special offers and discounts,
Hmm.
and then in the app, and we have these special events in a year like Black Friday,
Hmm.
right? They have the biggest discounts on Black Friday. So when I opened the app, the first few keywords, or let's say the most searched keywords, were actually milk and bread and eggs.
And that is an app used for finding deals.
For finding deals, I was thinking people will be searching for LCDs,
Yeah.
iPhone 14s,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was shocked. People were searching for basic necessities.
Do they have a trend of this? How this app may be
I'm
publishing a trend?
sure
They
they
must be
use
having.
AI in
Yeah.
this app, by
Hmm.
the way.
Hmm.
I saw they had a lot of openings for AI in this app.
Hmm. Hmm.
So coming back to that point, and then like I said, Canada's a grind.
Hmm.
I joined several groups on Facebook,
Hmm.
and there were so many people. They were saying that our salaries yet to come. Can anybody spare some bread? Can anybody spare some rice? That broke my heart, man. People are working two shifts, double jobs, working night and day,
Hmm.
and they were not able to provide basic necessities.
Hmm.
So
But by the way, you told me, and it was a great hack for anybody who's listening as well, that there's a, I don't know, I mean, we have to say this online, but you were telling me that if you are renewing any subscription,
yes,
you can go easily and tell them that I don't have any money,
yeah,
and they might give you a discounted rate of very small amount.
yeah. I think like this, you might be able to use it anywhere in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
But Canadians, yeah, they are very soft-hearted, absolutely soft-hearted. I mean, another story. My neighbor, every now and then he keeps coming and dropping stuff from my kids. You know, for example, his kids have overgrown. He comes and drops their toys for my girls. They had a huge, those beads and bracelets set. He just came and dropped it. And if I didn't have my Ring camera, I would have never known
Who
because,
has? Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay,
because he never announces it. He never leaves a note or anything.
okay, okay,
Just anonymously comes and drops it and goes.
okay. Very nice.
So they have a lot of sharing. They would have, backyard sales, garage sales. If you don't have any money, they just give it for free. So this is a very good thing about Canada. They are very soft-hearted.
By the way, the point that you've mentioned that they are irrespective whatever car you drive or
Yes.
whatever dress you wear or wherever you live, they treat you as equal.
Yes.
I say something about Dubai as well. The place is expensive, and then people are having different kind of mindsets,
Yes.
and they have put the stereotypes as well.
Yes.
But I broke the stereotype by driving a 10 years old car
Okay.
at the same, because I do some real estate videos as well on my YouTube channel, on my Urdu YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I drive a 10 years old car. I go to a property which is, let's say, 5 million dirhams property. I tell in my vlog that I'm driving this car. Even then, I'm getting lead for that project.
Wow.
So I'm, because I'm advocating minimalism, so people also resonate with that.
Yeah.
Because the agents who get those kind of leads only think that, okay, I can only get that lead through a Range Rover, or let's say if I'm
Yes.
driving a Mercedes.
Yes.
But I'm driving a very regular car which is 10 years old, and still I'm getting leads through my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So that goes on to say, because I don't care what I'm driving or
Yes.
whoever else is driving, because for me, okay, this is good, good car to drive is really good, but
Yeah.
but then you have some of your own targets in the life,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that has to be paramount
Yes.
compared to whatever car you're driving or whatever lifestyle
Exactly.
you're leading. So that is important point. um
And I would say, I would definitely compliment UAE leadership for that.
yeah,
There
yeah.
has been a huge shift in mentality,
Mm.
and it's no longer a country where people come to work and they are working for someone. It's
Mm.
like now working with someone.
Right.
So definitely, kudos to the leadership.
Yeah. So tell me about now you were saying, you were telling me that you were not actually moving to Dubai, you were actually expanding to Dubai.
Yes.
So tell me about that, and what are your plans here? And you're not looking for job, or you're not coming
No.
for a job. So
No.
you're basically doing
I think I
your
left
own.
a job at Rogers. That was my last job. I never
Really?
done a job after
Because
that.
after that you were contractor, and then
Exactly. I
after
was
that.
always a consultant.
Okay.
I would always work on my own terms. I absolutely love the freedom for that.
I need to learn about that story that you were telling me as well. That it was a light bulb moment for you.
Yes.
What was that?
So, we started off the story, why don't people, improve or, progress in their life? And that's because they are so happy in their comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, I was also one of them.
Mhm.
When I was working in Dubai, I was a very happy man. We used to travel the world, and we used to, work only 8 hours, and then the rest was that. But then once we got a new leader, he was a CXO, okay, and he came in and he just revolutionized the whole company, right? He changed the entire setup of the floor. He would come and meet everybody personally. That was something unheard of.
Hmm.
A CXO coming and meeting, an engineer personally
Hmm.
and asking about how's work and how's stuff like that,
Hmm.
right? So his personality was very dynamic, right?
Hmm.
And I was hoping that, okay, he's just gonna come and everything's gonna be super nice. But then what happened was, and I was in that company, and maybe I was not promoted for at least 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And all around me, people were extremely depressed, and there was this, negative environment that the company is not looking after us. We are loyal, we are loyal employees. We have been working for 11, 13, 15 years, and they're not regarding us, right? Because there was this impression that promotion comes with time.
Hmm.
You spend 2 years, you get promoted. You
Right.
spend another 2 years, you get promoted.
Yeah.
Not It's not linked to your performance, or it's not linked to
Right.
your
Right.
career goals.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we were under that impression.
Hmm.
And then this guy, he came, and I remember it clearly today, till today, that he had this whole hall. He had called everyone in for a meeting, from manager down to the technicians. And he opened up a diary and he said, okay, I know that there are 300 people who are not been promoted for 10 years, 500 people not promoted for 12 years, 600 people not promoted for 13 years. And then he said, my question is that if you're not been promoted for so long and you're still here, then this means that nobody values you outside, and
My
I'm
God.
stuck with the garbage of this country. Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
God. So I mean,
That was a slap.
people would be thinking, okay, now we are getting promotion probably.
Exactly, exactly. No, people might be, yeah, when they were coming in,
Yeah.
they were
No,
expecting good news.
even at that time he was reading that, okay, I
Yes,
know these, okay,
yes.
I'm kind hearted, I'm
The
gonna
way he set it up,
uh,
it felt like, good news is coming.
yeah.
But no, man, he just, broke lightning into the room. There was pin drop silence.
Hmm.
And then, but that, I don't know why it didn't insult me. It did not hurt me. It, in
Hmm.
fact, had that light bulb moment.
Hmm.
I started thinking that he's right. I'm sitting here and just crying and not doing anything about myself.
Hmm.
So I have only two choices. Either I stop crying
Hmm.
or, do something about my situation.
Hmm.
And from then onwards, I've purposely put myself in places where I was never comfortable going.
Hmm.
I'm never comfortable speaking with people. I'm a pure introvert. I used to take the first bus to university and the first bus back
Hmm.
just to avoid sitting in social settings and student centers and spending our time with friends.
Hmm.
My whole life I would just have one or two friends. I was
Right.
so comfortable in my own space, right?
Hmm.
But then after
A
this thing,
typical Dubai lad.
exactly.
Yeah.
But after this thing, I
Hmm.
would put myself in difficult situations.
Yeah.
I would take my work, I would take it to higher management and say, critique it, tell me is it good or bad.
Hmm.
I would never be able to do that before.
Hmm.
And I would say that, that got me off into transitioning into a different career. And then even the teaching role, I was never comfortable teaching it.
Hmm.
I still remember the first few times I was sweating like anything.
Right.
I was so uncomfortable.
Oh, I thought because I saw your one of the videos that you just recently did in Ajman University,
Ajman University, yes.
and you were very confident there. I thought that maybe you already
Everybody,
have a natural
exactly.
talent.
Everybody I've shared with,
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh, you've been doing it for ages, no big deal."
Hmm.
I tell them, "No, this was my first public appearance in such a setting."
Hmm.
And then another friend I sent this video to, he was like, "Man, where have you been hiding?
Uh-huh.
You have so much talent. Why aren't you using it?"
Hmm.
And I honestly, Wali, I have explored so many things about myself only by putting myself in non-comfortable situations.
Exactly.
That's when I learned that, okay, you know what? I can also take leadership roles. I can also take innovation. I can also do teaching. I can also do mentorship.
Hmm.
So I think, everybody who's just sitting and complaining,
Hmm. Yeah,
they should
yeah,
either stop complaining
yeah.
or move out of their comfort
Yeah,
zone.
you are absolutely right in that because I've seen people, and I've always told, and then they will hit me back. No, it's our right. I said there is no right in a
Yeah,
company, in a private company. There is
yeah,
no right, even
yeah.
in a government
And
organization.
okay, it is your right, but you're
Yeah,
not being given.
yeah,
What are you going to do?
yeah. You're
You're
not
still
gonna
going to sit down and cry?
complain. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
do
just a,
something about it.
yeah, yeah. And if nothing is happening, just leave that company.
Exactly.
If you're not happy, then
Yes.
you should not be
I mean,
continuing.
I think I would be a poster child for a change, right?
Hmm.
I've changed so many things in my life.
Hmm.
And this recent transition, moving from Canada and deciding to expand my base in Dubai,
Hmm.
this is a big change as
This is a
well.
big change because
Yeah,
you were again in a comfort zone,
exactly.
and you could have stayed there for
Yes.
any time
I
you
was
want.
extremely comfortable. And, the American dream, the Canadian dream, I was living that.
Hmm.
I have a house of my own, a family and everything. In the weekends, I'm going with my friends, playing, all the sports that I like.
Hmm.
But I felt that I can see things happen, and the way the Canadian environment is going, I don't want to struggle and keep my life in such misery, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And there might be good times right now. I've seen friends that were same good times as me. When they lost their jobs, they were in extremely bad situations.
Yeah, I mean, for Canada, I can see many of the stats that are coming up as there's one important stat, the house price compared
Yes,
to the income levels,
yes,
which is over the moon now.
over the moon.
Because there is no way somebody with, let's say, $100,000 can afford, let's say, $1 million home at
Absolutely,
all. And if
absolutely.
they can afford it on paper, or what will happen with the other expenses they have
Yes.
with kids and everything. So once you are here now, how are you like looking into business, and what are your plans, especially for your company and in the space of AI?
Yes. So you know what? I feel like the Middle East is a totally different ball game. In Canada, I can go to someone, show them my credentials, and then probably get a work,
Hmm.
probably get a project. In Canada, they need to know who this person is first of all,
Okay.
right? So you need to create a brand. I've heard this over and over.
In Canada,
Sorry, in Dubai,
in Dubai,
in
yeah,
the Middle East.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
In the Middle East, you need to create a brand of yourself.
Yes, yes.
And even when I was exploring, long ago when I was exploring jobs in Dubai,
Mm-hmm.
this is the first thing people would tell me,
Hmm.
that you need to be headhunted, and for being headhunted, you need to be a brand.
Hmm.
And that's basically the two parallels that I'm working on right now.
Hmm.
I'm building a brand, like you said. I recently had a speech in Ajman University. I have an upcoming one in the American Institute of Sharjah, where I'm a graduate from. And basically, what I'm trying to do is, and then I have two intentions and two incentives to do those speeches. My first and foremost incentive is to give back what I know. There's a lot of people who have no idea about AI,
Right.
and the reason is because many people overcomplicate it, and I'm able to simplify that. And I've seen a lot of success when I'm teaching these MIT courses, and I've seen a lot of success when I give that speech in Ajman University. They really loved that how I simplified AI, and they understood it, and they valued it much more. So the first and foremost, my incentive is to give back what I know, and the second incentive is to build a brand.
Yeah.
I need to make a position here as an AI person, right? And on the side, what I'm also doing is reaching out to clients and telling them use cases for example, in the speech I gave, I told about an incident that happened when I landed in Dubai. My friend said, Adnan, let's go and meet. I know a friend of mine. He's an ambassador of a country, right? And he's here. I'm having lunch with him. You come and meet him. And I met him, and I just gave him one use case of AI. His country is very rich in agriculture.
Okay.
And I gave him a use case in AI, which I've done in Canada. I was a part of consulting with it. I gave him this use case for his country, and he was blown away. He was like, really? Can AI do that with agriculture? So even without explaining what AI is, when I gave him that use case, he was extremely happy and interested in it. So I feel that when I give these speeches, people have that lightning, the light bulb moment. They get ideas, and even in the Ajman University speech, I had kids coming up and giving me business proposals. What do you think? Can we use business? Can we do AI in this use case?
Okay. Okay.
We need to get this thought process, out right now.
Yeah, because it's new, and early adopters will definitely get advantage
Exactly.
once you
They'll
have it.
get a
I
huge
actually tell
advantage.
everybody that see, this crypto whole crypto scenario or blockchain has been there for last 10 years now, and it's in public as well. People have made money out of it.
Yes.
But AI, this especially after ChatGPT, it's only there for last 1 or 2 years.
Yes.
And we can see how impactful has this.
Yes.
In fact, Nvidia,
Yes.
its CEO once said that they're not looking into blockchain or cryptocurrency anymore, because that also requires a lot of processing,
Yes.
for the computing processing.
Yes.
But they're saying we are now into, of course,
AI.
AI, and that's why you can see the stock, the price,
Yeah,
how it's going.
absolutely.
So AI is the thing
Even
to.
the new S24, it is called S24
Yeah, yeah,
AI.
they are also
Yeah.
branding it as
Yeah.
as an AI device. So what advice do you normally give to the youngsters who come to you for mentorship or something like that?
So youngsters, if they are in their university years, right? For kids, of course, they can do whatever they like. I mean, they have to cover all the bases: science, math, English, whatever. But if you're in the university, right, and you are, and that's what I spoke about in the speech in the Ajman University one, that if you are, let's say, in architecture, you should also be aware how AI is impacting architecture, right? Recently, I went to an exhibition in Dubai called Step 2024, and there was a startup there, and they used all past civil drawings, and they made a model that can make a new AutoCAD drawing of sewerage design.
Right.
So imagine now, if I'm an architect and I don't know how to use that tool, or I don't know how AI is doing it, right? I'm at a disadvantage. I just have learned the traditional stuff. I'm not, and this is where I see there's a huge bridge or a huge gap between academics and the real world. Academics are bringing them up to a level, but the real world is going much faster.
This is the same what was happening while not in our days, maybe after 10 years that we have graduated, that people were not keeping up pace with the
Yes,
coding.
exactly.
At that time, people, maybe if a civil engineer is there, he will not worry about anything about computers or let's say CAD or things
Yes,
like that.
yes,
But it hit them very hard after a
yes,
while, and then
exactly.
in any case they had to learn it, otherwise they would be kicked out of the.
Absolutely. You know what? I think one very important skill that maybe we should have been learned from a long time ago is self-learning. That has benefited me in every step of my life.
Right.
Right? When I was an engineer, I did self-learning. I did a PMP. I took 1 week off from my work and I did a PMP exam all by myself. I did not take any course. I didn't learn it anywhere. So same thing with AI. I did not take any courses. I did not go to any universities. I know this might be a difficult path for many people. They like to go to the traditional way, but this way I was able to learn the latest and the greatest stuff, right? Because I'm not going to a curriculum that has been built 2 years ago. I'm studying what's out there right now. So this, with this self-learning, with self-studying, you can be up to date.
Tell me something. Let's say if I am a professional
Yeah.
and I'm a telecom professional, and what is the difference between AI and a normal, let's say, programming or Python,
Yes.
or is it like stitched together somehow? Or if I'm a professional, I should how should I be using AI in my regular life? Because I
Yes.
know, let's say Python, I know that okay, people use that to simplify things,
Yes.
but how would I step ahead and start using AI?
Okay. That's a very good question. And I'll just tell you a little bit about the courses that I teach as a mentor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So around 2 years ago, when I was working with CSA as a AI engineer, I got reached out by an institute that started off with India, but now has expanded all over the world. And they had tied up with universities like MIT and University of Texas Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they operated was that during the week, the professors would give technical information.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll go through the maths and the science behind AI models. And in the weekend, they would have mentors, industry professionals like myself, who would speak to these learners, first fill their gaps with the technical knowledge, and secondly, speak about industry use cases as to how to apply that knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all these learners were actually industry professionals. They were, executives, directors, and managers from different companies. They either wanted to, they had, two intentions. Either they wanted to lead AI teams, or they wanted to transition into an AI career, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that basically answers the question whether I should learn Python programming or you should not, right? If you want to be in a business role, then you can avoid learning Python programming. And the trend now is going towards low code or no code programming.
Yeah, I'm actually
Yes.
interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you will find a lot of tools where you can just drag and drop models, connect your data sources, and then you have an AI model working.
Right, right,
You
right.
don't need to go into the Python programming.
Mm.
But if you are working as a full scale developer, as someone, let's say, who gets hired by Amazon or Facebook, you will need to be at the top of the Python programming game.
Right.
You will need to know how to build a model, how to optimize it, how to tweak it, stuff like that.
So I remember early days when I was doing this my job, I was good at Excel, and then I was good at MS Access as well, and that was the pinnacle at that
Yeah.
time. I mean, somebody's
Yes.
MS Access, then they can do anything.
Yes.
And now even till date I'm using Excel and Access. But I was thinking, let's say if I use Python, then for sure I'll go one step ahead. But something which is giving me an option to do anything without coding, that would be
Yes.
great. What
I
kind of
can give you an
platform?
example right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Microsoft, when ChatGPT came, Microsoft immediately shook hands with OpenAI.
Okay.
They have a version of ChatGPT which is called Copilot.
Yeah,
Copilot is actually
yeah, yeah,
built on ChatGPT.
yeah. Copilot is the same thing as a clippy thing that
The
was.
very, very old
Yeah,
Clippy
yeah,
thing, but
yeah.
that had no AI in it. This
Okay,
is on ChatGPT. This is generative AI,
okay.
right? So Copilot is now being integrated with Excel.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you think that knowing Python is going to give you that edge, another, let's say an engineer using Copilot
Mm-hmm.
can also generate the results that you will generate using Python.
Really?
Yes, and he can
Okay,
also generate Python code as well.
okay,
So now the experts are saying no need to push kids on hard on learning Python coding, right?
okay.
Yeah, you
This day is come
yes,
now.
this
Okay,
day has come.
okay.
And to be very honest, Wali, I think like the way the trend is going,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna need more innovators, more high level thinkers who can think, from a very bird's eye view that how can I use AI for this use case
Mm-hmm.
instead of those guys who are actually gonna go deep into the code and code it, because there might come a time where AI can already generate that entire code.
Mm-hmm.
You might need one expert to just debug it. We
Mm-hmm.
always need a human,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't need a team of engineers or team of data scientists or team of coders to
Mm-hmm.
actually code that model. So Copilot is one example where you can use inside Excel a generative AI model that can do all the stuff that Python programming can
So,
do.
so Copilot is a separate module. If you want to, let's say, generate,
Yes,
yeah, you have to
yeah.
get the subscription, I guess.
I think the free one is like,
But Microsoft will not give you charity. Like if you say
of
that
course not.
if I don't have money.
No. Yeah, but might as well try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a browser version, that's the free one.
Okay.
And then they have integrated with their Microsoft
So,
365. Yeah.
hmm.
So that one I'm pretty sure that's for enterprises. It's going to come as paid one.
Okay, you talked about mentorship, and
Yes.
I'm actually eager to learn about it because you have been a mentor.
Yes.
I have seen in South Asian community we are like
Reluctant,
reluctant to go for the
unfortunately.
mentorship.
Yes.
What is the benefit of being I'll talk about some of the benefits I got or people got from my because I also sometimes give consultancy as
Yes.
well. I'll give some examples as well. But I've seen people doing this for LinkedIn, especially because
Yes.
I'm now into LinkedIn, and I think a lot about how I can grow on that
Yes.
apart from YouTube. So, what is the benefit in your imagination?
So honestly speaking, it's it's a basic life principle. What
Mm-hmm.
goes around comes around, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think we are social, being, right? Humans are social beings. If you think that you can hold on to something and just work in silos, you're not going to benefit yourself or anyone else. You'll be the you'll be the biggest one at disadvantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now everything is like open source. They're working together, and that's where the greatest advancements happen. So mentorship is just a product of that. Basically, any industry expert who wants to now guide a prosperous future experts, let's say a graduate wants to learn how to become an expert,
Mm-hmm.
they can help them and show them how to progress in their career, right? Because it can be very daunting. When I was starting off,
Mm-hmm.
I had made a list of potential careers that use coding, and there were at least like 6 7, and then based on those 6 7 I had written down all the tools that are required,
Right.
and each one was a different skill set. A machine learning engineer is different from a data scientist, is different from a cloud engineer, is different from a developer. Everyone needs a different kind of a skill set,
Right.
right? And I was lost. I was like, I didn't know which one to, and I can't just start with one and then jump on the other one.
Exactly.
Everything is lost. So I used to reach out on LinkedIn, people who were AI specialists, who were data scientists working in the industry. I would call them for a coffee and tell them, can you mentor me? Can you guide me? This is my roadmaps. Which one should I choose? Right? And they would give me very nice guidance. They wouldn't give you the solution. You have to figure it
That
yourself.
was paid paid.
No, this in Canada they do a lot of free mentorship.
Really?
Yeah, you can easily approach anyone on LinkedIn, and then even in my own company we had this program called Walk a Mile.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you can choose any executive on any level, and you can spend the whole day with him, shadowing him the whole day.
Really? Really?
You will see what meetings he goes to, what analysis he does, how does his mind works.
Mm.
That was something amazing.
Mm.
And no amount of reading books and stuff like that can give you that kind of experience.
Yeah. By the way, on this point, earlier, I don't know if I've talked to you about this when we were talking privately, but earlier people were saying, if you want to get more exposure, do travel.
Yes.
Okay, I still agree to that.
Yes.
But nowadays, if you put yourself in social media,
Yeah.
this is a different kind of ball game.
Exposure. Yeah.
You get more exposure, and you get people to know you, and then those people will come back to you who you cannot imagine in your
Absolutely.
lifetime that you can talk to them.
Absolutely.
So the exposure
Social
is,
media is a game changer for sure.
yeah.
Anybody who's not using it for their advantage, it's going to be really hard for them to excel in their career.
Hmm.
Like you said, LinkedIn mentorship. There are people out there. Not only people, there are entire companies that have been structured for that, guiding people how to use LinkedIn properly. And it is a really complex art.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have
yeah.
an indicator, I think, an SSI score or something,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's
LinkedIn.
really hard to get that up.
Actually, there is a guy whose name is Jasmine Alec, and he is a LinkedIn mentor. I watched his podcast, one of the podcasts on I forgot the name of that channel, but anyways, what he was telling me, I mean, on the podcast, and it got me bulb again for LinkedIn especially because he was giving a one-on-one session for $1,000
Oh my God.
for an hour.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that, I mean, not me, but he was telling the audience that that this $1,000 mentorship is, or one-on-one session is coming through cold emails.
Wow.
It's not that he is reaching out to people. People are just reaching out to him through LinkedIn profile and just selecting
Yes.
his
Services.
appointments,
Yeah.
and then just he get the payment, and then he get the notification that
Yes.
and he was telling in that he is almost 20 days a month fully booked,
Wow.
and you can imagine $20,000 just
Yes.
coming through like that.
But
And
of
then,
course, there's a journey behind it, right?
of course,
Yeah.
and then he provides so much of value through,
Yes.
because in that podcast, of 1 hour podcast, I found so many things,
Yes.
like setting up banners, how should be the banner, how should be your let's say there is a link to your profile, that whenever you want to, whoever you want come to your profile, they should have a link, and once they click on the link, either they should go for the appointment, your website, or whatever the
Yes.
case is.
Call to action.
Yes,
Yeah.
call to action.
Yeah.
So I didn't know about that,
Yes.
so I started that, and then I started getting leads from that as well. Your banner is very
Yes.
important.
I'll tell you one more LinkedIn hack.
Yeah.
And I haven't told a lot of people about it. In fact, I didn't know about it myself. But this guy Gaurav, when he told me that you have an amazing skill set, you should easily find a job outside. So he told me your LinkedIn profile should be like an AI consultant profile,
Hmm.
right? and he told me that download your entire profile and see what does it look like. And when I download so there is an option where you can download your entire profile. And when you download it, you also get to see the SEO tags.
Okay.
And the tags in my profile were all
So
engineered.
SEO, although I haven't added any hashtags,
Even
but
me,
they were
they
generated.
were generating
Okay,
it.
okay.
Just like Facebook and Amazon, they create profiles with using AI. So they know, for instance, Wali likes to do podcasts, he likes to go outdoors. So
Right.
they have a profile of yours, and they
Okay.
only recommend products. This is AI, right?
Right. I mean,
Personalized
this is a
marketing.
free advice, or let's say free
Giveaway, yeah.
giveaway from this podcast, and this is towards the end, so that's why
Exactly.
it's for people who
So
have
so
gone
what
through.
I did was when I downloaded my profile, the profile was screaming as a telecom engineer.
Right.
And that's why none of the recruiters were reaching out to me.
Hmm.
So what I did was I revamped my entire profile.
Hmm.
I made it data oriented. I only added people who are AI related. I only liked the posts that were AI related.
Right.
And entire thing was AI, AI, AI. And in a month's time, when I downloaded the profile again, it was now an AI consultant and
Ah,
AI
so you can
profile.
benchmark as well. What?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then most of the jobs that I've interviewed for, I have never applied for them.
Hmm.
The recruiters were reaching out to me. We see your profile; it matches our job description. Would you like to interview?
Okay.
And
So how many like are there are I'm sure they must be. I am not aware, but on LinkedIn, people are searching for things like Google. They're searching for certain things.
yes,
So
recruiters have their own LinkedIn account,
okay.
and they put in their job descriptions. And then LinkedIn, using this SEOs and whatever profiles it creates, gives them the top 10 candidates, let's say.
Hmm.
And if your profile matches the job description, it matches the SEOs, then it gets shown to recruiters,
Hmm.
and then recruiters in just
No, I
find
mean
them.
to say, let's say if I need some kind of guidance on, let's say if I want to have Dubai podcast,
Yeah,
I search on Dubai on the LinkedIn
yeah,
as a search term Dubai podcast.
yes,
So if I'm optimized for that, I should be coming there.
yes,
But for that optimization, of course, it's not like some kind of hard optimization. You
yeah,
have to do it over time,
yes. You have to do
and
it over
you
time.
have to make
You
connections
have
like
to,
that.
like I said, like other podcasters who are in Dubai,
Hmm.
make some comments that you are doing podcasts in Dubai.
Right.
So that's when those keywords get flagged, and
Hmm.
then that goes part and becomes a profile of yours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
And then
Absolutely.
like cookies and stuff like that, everything is like a digital imprint.
Hmm.
Everything that you do goes and becomes a profile of yours.
Hmm. Right. So it's a fascinating story. By the way, where do you plan to retire? Is it in Canada, Dubai,
That's
or?
a tough question. And of course, I'd retire when my wife would retire. And we are completely opposites,
Hmm.
in every aspect of life.
Right.
I would like chocolate and she would like some weird mint flavor.
Okay. Okay.
So same thing here. She likes, hustle and bustle, and
Like
I
Dubai.
like Dubai.
Yeah.
And I like, for retirement especially, a very quiet and scenic and nice river flowing, mountains backdrop,
Maybe
something
Bath.
like that. Yeah, maybe Banff,
Yeah.
exactly. I've been to Banff and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So for me, Canada would be an ideal place to retire,
Hmm.
and also because it's very, very, very healthy. The first thing I noticed when my kids were in Canada, they were always outdoors.
Hmm.
When we were in Dubai, we were always in the malls.
But
So
no, tell me something about this, like allergy things for
yes,
the kids develop in Canada. I have seen people moving to the from let's say Dubai to Canada, or Pakistan to Canada, or India to Canada, and found that whoever they have kids born, let's say outside Canada, and the kids born in
yes,
Canada, they have difference there
yes,
in their habits, in their, let's say, immunity.
yes.
They have a lot of allergies in
Yes.
Canada. Is it because it is too clean of an environment there, or something else?
I cannot pinpoint what exact reason. Some conspiracy theorists would say that it's because of the vaccinations they keep giving the kids, that they become extra
Actually, I've heard
sensitive.
about. I don't want to say that, but I've heard about this autism as well, which I've seen most Canadian families now. It's too much prevalent, and
Yes.
I'm not sure why.
But then, I think there's another aspect to it as well. In Canada, they give a lot of importance to privileged people,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
For example, when I was working in one of these companies, they had an entire training that your presentations should be, it should be fitting for colorblind people as well. Don't use colors that they cannot distinguish.
Hmm.
When you are calling for meetings, do not place your meeting in a place where there are steps,
Hmm.
because there could be a person on a wheelchair and he will not be able to access the meeting.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they are very sensitive, and they are recognizing these things a lot and highlighting it a lot.
Hmm.
So maybe we will feel, okay, you know what, since it's being highlighted, so there are more cases of disabilities here, or privileged people here.
Hmm.
I don't think that's the case. It's just that they are, giving a lot of rights to everyone. Same thing with autism. I had a friend who had moved from Pakistan to Canada because he was getting amazing, support system for his autistic kid, and he was not willing to move outside of Canada because he was not getting that same support outside, right? So I think there is,
See, I have many
both sides
stories.
of the coin.
I have many stories about that. So I'll just give you a few of them, specifically about autism. So I know once it's detected and once a certain milestone has hit, Canada is heaven for someone who is having autism. But let's say if you are not detected, or like as a parent, you know that this kid might have some kind of spectrum issue, but the doctors there are not yet confirmed, or the age has not been
Yeah,
there. Then there is a big issue, because then you know that this something is happening,
yeah.
and the government is not complying, or saying that, let's say, this is not serious as of now. For that matter, I know a few people who moved back to Dubai. Not back, actually, they moved to Dubai. They were having a very high fee for this, what do you call that, therapies,
Therapies.
uh, which if they would have opted in Canada, which was of course private, it would be like around $900 per session. But here in Dubai, it was around 500 dirhams.
Yeah.
So they opted for that because they knew that if they delay, and then once you
Yes.
find that this is happening,
Yes.
and even one single day delay will be life changing in
Yes.
future. So this is something like I saw some delays there,
Yeah.
even in
No, so
normal
the
healthcare.
healthcare system, Wali, in general, is under a lot of strain.
Hmm.
It is, most of the time it is 100% utilized, and the way they are countering it is that if you are not life-threatening situation, then
Hmm.
they'll send you back home, or they'll say, get an appointment with your general physician
And
and
then,
show it to them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I think maybe that's the case for this as well, that
Hmm.
they have set a criteria that, these kids are the ones that need urgent care.
Hmm.
The ones other than that, it's possible that by the time they reach here, they can also become better.
But the problem is that there you don't have private healthcare as well. So in that case, if you want to skip that
Yeah.
line, you don't have the option
No, you don't
actually.
have the option.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So healthcare is a big issue there.
So as we were saying earlier, so retirement, you're not sure right now.
Not sure right now. If it's up to me, I would prefer a scenic place like Canada.
Hmm.
But I'm sure it's not up to me.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So it changes as well, because once your exposure increases, because many people say Dubai is transitory,
Yes.
and Dubai doesn't have that kind of permanency.
Yes.
But now I've been living here, and now that I know a lot of other things apart from my job, I know that you can do a lot of things here,
Yes.
which can lead to permanency, like
Yes.
golden visa and these things.
Exactly.
So this can be a permanent place as well,
Yes.
and then once you have wealth, it can compound, and then you
Yes.
can you can stay anywhere. Of course, the power of passport, you cannot deny that.
Exactly.
But if somebody wants to live, and if already they have a very good life going on, and they have some business,
You
or
know,
they
I
have.
I often think that if this golden visa and the green visa and these different incentives were there at my time,
You might have not.
I might not have gone.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
So I definitely feel that Dubai has changed a lot since the time I have left.
yeah. Yes.
There's a lot of avenues where you can invest in, you can stay here,
Yeah.
and then this could be a place that you can retire as well.
Yeah, I mean, there is a very famous rule of FIRE. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Okay.
FIRE. Basically, this is financial independence, retire early.
Okay.
So this is a phenomena. Although it's not implemented to everybody in all the regions, but let's say if you broadly speak about it, then it is a 25. It is a rule of 25 basically.
Okay.
So basically, you take your let's say your expenses for a year. So let's say if you have an expense of 100,000 dirhams for full year,
Yeah.
then what is the amount that you want to accumulate before you can think about retirement? And this retirement can be completely work off,
Yeah.
or maybe you will just take away like leave your day job and then do something else of your own.
Okay.
So, but then this will give you a path to have retirement, and you don't run out of the money as well.
Yes.
So the number is 25. So
Okay.
basically, if it's 100,000 dirhams that you will be
Earning.
earning, if you have not earning, sorry, spending.
Spending.
So
Okay.
your spend criteria. So it's if it's 25 times of that money, if you try to somehow save, and then invest in, let's say, index fund or something like that, then the rule is that you take out 4% every year
Hmm.
from that pot, and you will be always good.
Okay.
for the lifetime.
So I think they have a similar system in Canada. They have a fund called RRSP.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
registered retirement saving
yeah,
plan,
yeah,
and you can keep putting money in there,
yeah.
and then when you hit a certain age, I think it's 60 or something, you can
Then
get
you
the money
can,
back.
yeah.
But then it's taxed at that time as
No,
well.
but that is again until the age of 60.
Yes.
Fire you can achieve at 30 as well.
Yes.
So if you have money, you can just get
Well,
your.
honestly speaking, I haven't seen a lot of people retire in Canada.
Hmm.
And maybe that's a good thing, because when I was working here, I was under so much stress.
Yeah, you
At the
cannot
age
think
of
of.
20, I was thinking of retirement, and there they're so relaxed.
Hmm.
People who have finished their day jobs, they have for instance, they have left their companies, they start their own businesses, they are doing consulting at the age of 60,
Hmm.
they still keep working.
Hmm.
So I think in Canada they don't focus too much on retirement. They're still
And
also
the good thing
working then.
about Canada is that, like, if you want to basically take off some time of your job, you
Yes,
can easily do that.
easily.
While in Dubai, maybe if you're doing a day job, it might not be very easy.
Yes,
So you can.
because your health is covered. You're not worried that your kids will go sick and nobody's going to pay for them.
Hmm.
Your education's covered.
Hmm.
The only thing you have to worry about is your house. And if
Hmm.
you got that covered,
And inflation maybe.
and inflation, of course.
So because I'm gonna
Pivot.
write the title something like that for
Okay.
inflation. Retirement you can only take once you do well in your career, or let's say a job or business or whatever the case is. But for doing good in job, I think you need good soft skills as well.
Yes.
And I discuss a lot about these topics as well on my channel, both on English channel and as well as Urdu channel.
Yes.
Recently, I had a friend who was on the podcast about this, because his channel's name is actually Soft Skills Channel, something like that.
Okay.
So we talked about such. So apart from this AI and technical thing,
Yes.
What skills should the youngsters embrace,
Yes.
especially in this domain of soft skills?
Yes.
What kind of skills do you think that
So,
are important?
honestly speaking, in Canada, they give a lot of importance to soft skills, by the way.
Okay.
And they say this a very interesting concept, that the soft skills are the only transferable skills. If you're going from, let's say, I went from an engineering background to an AI background, I didn't bring any of my telecom expertise to the AI background, especially when I went to Honda, for instance. The only thing I have brought is my soft skills, right? And one of the important skills people ask me, what's the difference between a data scientist and a regular AI consultant, let's say. Or let's say between a coder and a data scientist. A data scientist is a person who also excels at storytelling, and storytelling is a soft skill, right? So I would rank communication as number one skill, right? Communication, and there is a speaker. I think his name is Lin Yan, and he specializes in telling people how to communicate. And he said a very interesting thing. He said, imagine your technical skills are 10 out of 10, and your communication skills are 3 out of 10. What will you be perceived as? 10 or 3? 3, right? Because
Right.
and this is what happened in universities. We would see professors, they were graduates and PhD holders, but they couldn't communicate well.
Yeah.
And we were getting the impression, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So communication would be number one.
And I think especially for engineers, this is
It's
very
a big
important.
drawback for them.
Yeah, because I have seen myself
Yes.
that what happens is engineers are normally talking to the computers,
Yes.
or let's say maximum talking within their
Yes.
circle, peers,
Yes.
not cross functioning,
Not
not
cross-functioning.
talking to sales,
Not
or
even owning up to what they've done.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So
You know that CXO, when I had that one-on-one meeting,
yeah,
I was so afraid, and he was just, what happened here? What happened here? What happened here? And I couldn't stand up to it.
although he was an engineer as well.
Exactly. So communication would be number one,
Yeah.
and then that has to be supplemented with your self-confidence. The amazing thing I see in Canadian graduates, they come before graduation, they would come and work as co-ops in our companies, and even though they didn't have that industry level experience, their confidence was really good. They were able to present stuff, they were able to talk to you in a meeting. So this is the kind of confidence we need, right? So communicate very well, be very confident. And the thing I try to say myself is that, Adnan, if I cannot sell anything to myself, I cannot sell it to anyone.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So if I can't sell that I'm an AI consultant to myself, I can't sell it to you.
Right.
So many
So
many
personal branding
people,
is important as well.
absolutely. Personal branding, and it has to come from within you, and then it has to go outside, right?
Right. Right.
So many people, they're not confident as in their own work, and then how can they be confident when they're communicating? So communication, self-confidence, and then always have a positive attitude. What I've seen the little that I've studied successful people, they don't have self doubt at all. They are very quick to take decisions and they don't doubt it. It's okay if you fail. And
Yeah,
there
yeah,
is a concept in technology say fail fail fast, fail soon.
yeah.
So you have to fail fast.
Hmm.
If you keep
Absolutely.
thinking and what will happen, what will happen, what will happen, you'll never proceed.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually discussing the same with. I don't know if this podcast will come later or before because there was a mentor in Canada. I did this on my Urdu channel, and he was saying because I was telling him that there are people who are shy,
Yes.
bringing them on the social media. He said they're not shy. They don't know actually what they're going to
Yes.
get after
Yes.
they bring up what they have. So it is
Absolutely.
important to be there because I also tell people that I do the content on personal finance, but I was talking to one of the brands here, and I told them that there are many people I know that are much better than myself on personal finances or finances in general. But because I'm putting myself up
Yes.
there, nobody knows them right
Yeah.
now. So it's me only right now, and
Yes.
take it or leave it, I'm there.
Yeah.
So that's the
Crying
thing.
baby gets the milk.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So nice talking, Adnan. I hope people also get value out of this conversation,
Absolutely.
and then now that you are in Dubai, we will get to know more of each other, and then we'll create more content around the same topics.
Anytime, anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you very much. Thank you.